How you doing, guys? I've just come back from Fully Charged Live. Fully Charged is a YouTube video site started by Robert Llewellyn about 8 years ago, I think it was. They look at electric vehicles, not just cars, but they look at coming trucks, pedal-assisted bicycles, electric scooters, all sorts of things. Last year, 2018, they did the first Fully Charged Live event, which is at Silverstone in the UK. This year, they're actually doing, they did the one in Silverstone, where I've just come back from, which is why I'm doing this video for you. They're also doing one in Texas, I think it's in August. Have a look on the website. This started off with Robert Llewellyn just reviewing what he could find. He then got some sponsorship off Shell, I think it was. And then since then he's gone to Patreon, so it's totally privately funded. There's no agendas from anyone, which is what he found on previous things. Was it Shell, British Gas, anyway, whoever. He was sponsored by someone. Anyway, so the live event gets anything to do with electric vehicles or renewables together. So whether you're looking at a post to go outside your house that charges your car, whether you're looking at solar panels, electric scooters, fold-up electric bike things that you can carry on the train and will take you very quickly from the station to the office, all sorts of things, all sorts of things. So absolutely fabulous. So there's a few things, I made some notes in my nice new book, that I want to cover. One of the talks I went to was about renewables, EVs, and the UK. So what we do, what's happening. And one of the guys made a great comment. He said that one of the issues with electric car charging points is that they're not visible. Do you know where your local ones are? I mean, if you have an electric car, then yeah, you probably will do. But if you just have an ordinary car, then perhaps you don't. So there's no visibility. If we know that at supermarkets there's fuel stations. You're going down the road, you can see the big SO signs or the big Shell garages, or if you're in America, Chevron, I think is one of them. But you know where they are. The big, you can see all the cars piled in. That will come for electric vehicles, but at the moment you have on car parks charging points, and unless you're keen on them, you don't always spot them. One of the problems with the human brain is there's so much information coming in through our eyes, we have to filter it. So one of the great questions I love that people ask in this situation is, how many people have you seen today wearing brown shoes? Well, the answer is probably none. But tomorrow, if you look when you're at work or just walking around, and you look at people's shoes, you'll see how many there are. There might not be a high percentage, but you don't notice. So if you haven't got an electric car and you're not thinking about it, then you don't see the charging points. But there are a lot of car parks, like near me, in Chorley Town Centre, there's a car park called the Flatiron, and there's a couple of charging points there. I don't know if there's 2 posts with 2 chargers or if there's 4, I don't know how many there are. And I know that at the Asda, which is the other side of town, there's about 4 or 6 EV charging points there. If you live in Chorley, you now know. If you live in Croydon, I've got a clue. But what I can tell you is, go and have a look at a thing called Zap Map. Zap Map is a website that will show you all the charging points in the UK. If you are a fan of my EV, electric vehicle and renewable energy Facebook page, I put a map on a while ago, showing all the points in the UK. It's just about blurred with all these charging points. Go onto Zap Map, go onto the map, and there's a little box at the top. Put your address in, postcode or town or whatever, city, and it'll show you all the charging points in the area. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Another one that I was really surprised at yesterday was Shell. Now, I know 18 months, 2 years ago, they did the first forecourt charging point down London. Things always start off in London when we don't know where they're going to go. You can actually filter on Zap Map for the Shell charging points. You have to go to the additional ones, whatever. And you'll find Shell on there. If you just click the Shell ones, you'll see where they all are. You know, I live up in Lancashire. There's about 4 or 5 around here. You know, you can go to your Shell garage and there's a charging point. I'm doing an update on the book at the moment, which I'll show you in a bit. And I'm gonna go and drive to one of these garages and show you Shell garage EV charging point. They're coming. I'm trying to get hold of Shell at the moment to find out when all of the garages are, you know, when most of them are going to get the charging points. But it's coming. You know, when Shell's done it, you know, Esso will have to follow in line. You know, all the other ones. I know some of the houses. I know all new built houses have charging points. The other supermarkets have to do the same. You know, we'll soon get to the point where you've got the disabled parking, you've got children parking, you've got the EV parking. You know, it'll come. There'll be more and more points. Because the biggest argument I find normally is people go, well, I don't know where there are any. There's no infrastructure. It's like, yeah, there's 5,000 in the UK. You know, you can go and find a charging point easy. You can also charge your car at other people's houses. If they have a charging point outside the house, and if they register with there's several different sites, but it's like Charge at Home or something. So basically, if I've got an electric car and I'm out at work all day, someone else can plug into my charging point, and it all goes through the app, all goes through the web. So basically, they will pay. If I pay 15 pence a kilowatt for my electricity, they might pay 20. So I will get paid 15 pence plus a couple of pence, 2-3 pence extra per kilowatt that they charge up with. So that my overall bill for the month isn't, you know, it doesn't cost me to charge their car up. But yeah, you know, if every single house in the UK is a charging point, there's no issue. The other one that I tend to find is people say, yeah, but you know, I don't have direct access to you know, I've got a driveway, I can't plug a cable in across the front of my house. You know, I'm actually like that. When my daughter lived here, she had to put a cable in across the path in front of the house, which was not technically correct. But there are companies out there that are making these posts that go at the curbside, park your car next to it, plug your car in, and away you go. Now, do these need to be out front of every single house? No, not really. You know, how often do you fill your car up now? I was chatting to my neighbour earlier, and he said probably the wife fills her car up probably once a month. She only does 2-3 miles each way. You know, the average driver in the UK only does about 10 miles a day. Well, you know, 10 miles a day, that's 50 miles a week. Well, if you have a car, you know, the old Leafs like my daughter's got, great for around town, but you do need to charge them up a bit more regular. But if you've got a car that does 200 to 300 miles on a full charge, you know, if you're only doing 100 miles a week, you can charge them every fortnight, every 3 weeks. If you know where the one is at your local Asda or your local Shell garage, well, certainly Asda, plug it, go to that Asda once a month, once every 3 weeks, and go and do your shopping. By the time you're done your shopping, you come back, your car's charged, and away you go. So what else did I see yesterday? Oh, there's some, I'll tell you about the Peugeot first. Peugeot have taken the 208. Now, I think what they've done is quite clever. Instead of completely redesigning the car, which is going to cost an absolute fortune, which means the people buying the car will have to pay a bit extra to pay for the redesign. Basically, what they've done is got the ICE car, the internal combustion engine car, and looked at it going, oh, do we need that bracket? Do we need this? Do we need that? So they're sticking with the basic car, but they're taking off anything that they don't need. So it's like they would do a mid-year update on a car. You know, they're always constantly tweaking cars. You know, when I worked at Jaguar Land Rover, you know, year 14 car, year 15 car, year 16 car. Sometimes you do like the year 14.5, which is like one of the ones I was looking at the top. So they constantly update them. So if you can just look at the things and go, well, we just don't bother putting these things on, and we do that. And if the engine bay is basically the same, you know, this one's an engine one, and then the next one down the production line could be an electric one. I don't know if they're doing that, but the several things this car has. I can't remember the exact battery size, and it's not actually coming out to the end of the year, so they can still be tweaking it. But basically, this thing has a 50 kilowatt hour battery. Job done. You know, 200, 250, you know, I don't know if it'll do 300 miles, but it'll do more than you need for 2 weeks. You know, and people say, oh, I need 300 miles. It's like, why? Where are you going? You know, if you drive for 3 hours on a motorway, you're not going to do more than 180 miles. The average speed, you know, because you've got to get out of the motorway, you've got to get through the roadworks, traffic jams. You don't do more than 60 miles an hour in an hour. So 180 miles, stop, top it up. You know, it's down to 70 miles. You know, plug it in. These Peugeots are capable of rapid charging at 100 kilowatt hours. If you plug your car into a 3-pin socket at home, you'll get about 3 kilowatts or a bit less. The car chargers that go on the outside of your house, you can get 3 point whatever kilowatts or 7. So a 7 kilowatt will charge a lot more than like a 2.5. So that's what you get from your house, 7. These charge at 100 kilowatt. The car will accept 100 kilowatts an hour. So they can go from 0 to 80% in about 30-40 minutes. Well, you've pulled in with 30%, you only need half an hour, 20 minutes, you're done. By the time you're going to have a coffee, you're going to have water, you drink for 3 hours, you need a break. So you're going to have some lunch, you come back, it's 80-odd%, whatever, you're done, you jump in, job done. The other thing I was really impressed, apart from the Tesla Model 3, that's the bee's knees, that really is. But these are starting at I think about 38,000. Not sure what the Peugeot is. 2 other cars came out in the last week. The Seat Mii, M-I-I, that's coming out in the next couple of months, as is the Vauxhall Corsa. They're doing a full electric version of the Corsa. Again, can't remember the price of those. But they're reasonable. I think the Corsa, don't quote me on this, but I think it's like sort of 23,000. Probably a lot more than a current Corsa, a petrol Corsa, but you don't have to put petrol or diesel in. I cover in the book the price comparisons between using an electric car and using a petrol car. It's incredible. If you pay 5,000 more for an electric car, you're going to get that back in the next couple of years. You seriously are. You need to look at these numbers. And one of the other things that really intrigued me is we look at new cars, and one of the talks I went to, you're looking at second-hand electric cars. Well, my sort of thought is there's actually a third option that most people don't discuss. If you have an older car that you really like and you don't want to get rid of it, a few years ago I had a 7 Series BMW. Now that was a nice car. I only worked a mile away from home, so I could walk it most days, unless it rains because I made of sugar and I melt. So it didn't cost me much in fuel. I'd put £10-20 a week in it, and it would slowly fill the tank up. So you can go somewhere and you didn't really notice it too much. So how about getting that? Taking this huge, great V8 out the front of this huge gearbox in your great big fuel tank, drop off the exhaust and what have you, and turn it into an electric car. I've got a Nissan Murano, which I don't drive at the moment, and which is the same car that I used to drive all around America, 12,500 miles around America. That was just awesome. I have a book on that. Anyway, so my plan is to do a full electric conversion on that. That'll be ace. Here's a car I've had for a couple of years, and it's now green. So that's another option. You have an old car, save buying a new car, the cost, the depreciation, whatever. You've already got a great car, £3,000-4,000 for a nice old classic car, great. Or buy something that does have a knackered engine. They'll take all that out. How much are installation costs for a full EV conversion? Depends what you have. It depends motor size. It depends batteries a lot. If you watch one of the most recent fully charged videos on YouTube, EV West. Oh, I want to work there. I want to live there and I want to work there. This place looks great. It's in California, and basically when someone crashes a Tesla, he doesn't want anyone to get hurt. But if there's an accident with a Tesla and the car's written off, he wants the battery. He wants all the electronics out. You get the battery, the controller, and I think the only thing they do is they make up the new cables. So you've got the huge motor and rear drive systems. Think about the price of those. You've now got second-hand Tesla batteries. Convert your car. I mean, that's what this guy does. One last snippet that was really good. Well, a couple of little things. Another one of the talks I went to, this guy was talking about the car batteries. And he says what they're looking at doing is how you recycle EV car batteries or EV batteries when they're old. How do you recycle them chemically to rebuild them into new batteries? Well, the Nissan Leaf came out, I think it's 2012, so that's sort of 7 years ago now. Now, if you took an engine out of a 7-year-old car that's been run regular, it'll have lost a heck of a lot of power. That would be sort of getting to be like quite a worn engine. Well, what they're finding with these Nissan Leaf batteries is they're not worn. They're not worn enough for them to recycle. So they're having to artificially age them to look at old batteries. And this goes back to an article last week where Nissan have stated that they expect the batteries in the Leaf to last 5 to 10 years longer than the car does. We think, mobile phones, these batteries, like the phone that I'm recording this on, I've had this a couple of years now, and you start to notice that by the end of the day that the charge is getting a bit low. It's like 40%, whereas when I first got it, at the end of the first day, it's still 90%. My laptop's just the same. I can charge it, and I can use it for a couple of hours, but it's not the 8 hours like it used to be. And that's the perception everyone has for electric car batteries, that they wear out so quickly. They don't. They really don't. I don't know how they're different. I know these more sort of solid batteries, whereas for mobile phones and for laptops, it's all squished in together, so that obviously makes it difficult. And I think also with laptops and phones, they want you to buy another one within a couple of years. So I don't know if the batteries are designed to last or if they're not designed to last. I don't know. I don't want to get into that. But car batteries, they absolutely are. Absolutely are. Anyway, I'll give you another update soon. Anyway, for now, thank you very much. Goodbye. Oh, just before I go, I nearly forgot. If you want to learn more about electric vehicles and renewable energy, sorry, I'm just trying to get this out the light. It's 2019 Electric Vehicle and Renewable Energy Handbook. Search for Simon Amazing Clark. Don't forget the amazing, and you'll find it in there. Or just put in 2019 electric vehicle, electric car, and you should be able to find it on Amazon. So there you go. Till next time, you take care and have a great day. All right, cheers. Bye.